A very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to this weekly media briefing. I have one announcement and then we will open the floor for questions. We would like to convey our deepest condolences to the government and people of Yemen on the sad incident in Sana'a, which more than 78 people lost their lives today. I think it was a little yesterday. We hope and pray for the speedy recovery of those injured. This tragic incident comes at a time when there have been encouraging developments in the Yemen situation. In particular, we welcome the release of nearly 1,000 prisoners by the parties to the conflict, which has taken place over the last few days. India hopes for an early establishment of peace, stability and security in Yemen. So that was the announcement that I had to make. I can see lots of hands going up. Let me start with, why don't you start with you, ma'am? Yeah, go ahead. Come ahead.
Hi, Pia from The Print. When asked about UN estimates that India's population is close to exceeding China's, the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson said it's not about the size of the population but the quality of the people. This is also being perceived as an insult to India. Does the MEA have any reaction on that?
What was the insult part? So I didn't get that. It was perceived to be an insult. Comment, okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. Why are you laughing? You are the next floor. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, Abhishek Jha from CNN News 18.
Okay.
My question is regarding this Sudan. If you could give us some information regarding how many Indians are in Sudan and how many of them have actually reached to MEA missions or officials for
I think there'll be a lot of interest in Sudan. So why don't I take the questions on Sudan together? Who all have questions on Sudan? Okay, hold on. One minute.
After that, we will be allowed to ask another question.
Yes, if I have time. It's all a question of time, ma'am. I have. Yeah, Pranay will start. Yes.
प्रणय उपाध्याय एबीपी न्यूज़ से। सर, कल रिपोर्ट्स आई थी कि इंडियन एम्बेसी के ऊपर भी अटैक हुआ है वहाँ पर, तो क्या सिचुएशन है? दूसरी चीज़ ये है कि इवैक्यूएशन के लिए किसी प्लान को वर्कआउट किया जा रहा है क्या? उसका क्या अपडेट है?
Okay.
So may I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Hi, Siddhant from CNN News 18. Sir, when Anthony Blinken spoke to the two leaders of Sudan, there was a discussion regarding the ceasefire. Daily time should be given for a ceasefire every day, sir. So is India really looking for that ceasefire time if both leaders accept, and during that process maybe the evacuation can be carried out?
Okay.
So what are the reports coming from Khartoum?
Srinjoy, introduce yourself for record.
Times now, Srinjoy. So what are the reports coming from Khartoum from the Indian embassy? Because over these last 48 hours, there seems to be a bit of a silence. And is there fighting going on just outside the Indian embassy?
1 second. Yeah, go ahead.
Sir, Meghna Dev from DD News. The control room also has been established here at MEA. How many calls have been received? What are the kind of assistance is the Indian community there seeking, or the Indians stranded in Sudan?
Sorry,
seeking?
the second part we say, how many calls and?
How many calls and what kind of assistance are they seeking? Because it is there are reports that many people are short of supplies, many people want to be evacuated and more.
Okay. Who else have questions? Yeah, please go ahead.
Manas from PTA. During External Affairs Minister's telephonic conversation with Saudi Foreign Minister and Foreign Minister of UAE, they have assured support to the ground. So what kind of support we are looking at from UAE and Saudi Arabia in Sudan?
Okay. Yeah.
उमाशंकर एनडीटीवी इंडिया से। सूडान में कितने भारतीय हैं, कोई आधिकारिक उसका डाटा हो तो, और कितनों ने वापस आने की मंशा जताई है? जैसे कि आप वहाँ व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप बाकी ज़रिए से भारतीय समुदाय के टच में हैं, तो उसके आधार पे अगर बता पाएँ कि कितने भारतीय वापस लौटना चाहते हैं।
Okay. इसी पे Sudan, go ahead.
Sir, Akhilesh Suman from Samsung TV. Are we sending our own any either officials or any aircraft to take back Indians who are
Sorry,
stranded?
officials or aircraft?
Either any officials are being sent
okay,
to Sudan
separately.
to coordinate the evacuation process, or any aircraft to take Indians back to India.
Okay. Yeah, it is back.
Reza from Hindustan Times. One of the things that a lot of relatives of the people stuck in Khartoum are saying is that Indians are in separate hotels in different places where food is running out and there's no electricity. Is there any kind of a move to get them into one particular place, or to reach out to the hotels to help them out?
I think that broadly covers a lot of things. If there are further, I'm happy to answer. Look, I think this is an issue that is that we have been keeping a very close watch on the evolving situation there. It has happened over the last, I would say the conflict is the last 4-5 days that the fighting has broken out. I think last Friday it was. I think 14th it started. Our mission in Khartoum has been in contact with the Indian community there. As you mentioned yourself, I think one of you, through multiple channels, informal, formal. Our embassy has issued several advisories, which you would have seen. In New Delhi, as some of you mentioned, we have set up a 24/7 dedicated control room for providing information and assistance, and the coordinates of those control rooms has been shared publicly. We are engaged with countries in the region and other countries that have a key role to play, particularly US, UK, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. As you already know, External Affairs Minister spoke to his counterparts from Saudi Arabia and UAE. He has today spoken to his Egyptian counterpart. Our ambassador in Washington, D.C. and our High Commission in London are in touch with the respective host governments. We are also working with the various UN bodies that are present there. As you know, UN has a significant presence on the ground. External Affairs Minister is currently in New York, and he is likely to meet UN Secretary General later today and to discuss the developments in Sudan. In terms of the situation on the ground, as you are aware, there's been an unfortunate death of an Indian national. His body is currently at a hospital. Finally, after a lot of effort, we have been able to get that body moved from his apartment complex into a mortuary in a hospital. And we are seeing how to get that body either back or with family evacuated. We'll see. Our embassy is in touch with the family of the deceased as well as the medical authorities there. Just to give you a sense, look, the situation on the ground continues to be quite tense. It remains very tense, which renders any movement very risky. So currently our focus is on ensuring the safety and well-being of the individuals wherever they are located. I'll come to some of the questions that you specifically answered, asked. But largely we are monitoring it. We are in touch with the people. Let me emphasize that look, we understand the difficulties people are facing. The situation on the ground, as I mentioned, is changing. It's quite fluid. There are incidents happening at various locations, and we are advising the community members who are reaching out. In fact, there are mechanisms. They have signed up to a form where they're giving all the details. So we have some sense of how many people are there. But again, the power is patchy. Internet connectivity is patchy. So we're not sure yet how many finally will be there. Let me try to answer some of the specific questions that have been asked. Look, on the number of people, I think Abhishek, you had asked, and I think Jaishankar ji, आपने भी पूछा था. देखिए, जैसे External Affairs Minister had said, we don't want to get into the details how many and what locations for security reasons. Right now, that is something that would affect, we feel, that the security and safety of those people. I wanted to assure you that we are actually in touch with them. We are calling them. I see a lot of social media posts saying, oh, this group has not been contacted, or a certain set, person from this tribe or some. I assure you they have been contacted even as we came in. We had outreach. We are trying to reach out to them in their local languages, trying to reassure them that it is perhaps the best that they stay where they are or somewhere close by, because movement on the streets currently is unsafe. So that would be my response in terms of how many there. जैसा मैंने कहा, कितने लोग हैं, कहाँ हैं, ये अभी हम आपके साथ नहीं शेयर कर पा रहे हैं सिक्योरिटी रीजंस के लिए, पर हम सबसे संपर्क में हैं. There was a question regarding what kind of, I think Manas, you asked, UAE, Saudi Arabia, I mentioned that. Look, I think almost all country and the citizens are having the same difficulty. The airport is non-operational. There is intense fighting going around in various parts of the country and in the city, particularly in Khartoum. And I think various countries are looking at options, how to get their citizens out, how to get their diplomatic personnel out. And we are obviously in close contact with them, whether through the capitals, through their embassies in Khartoum, as well as in New Delhi. The support is not specific, it depends. Some countries have some influence and information. Other countries perhaps could guide us in what measures they are taking. Perhaps we can pool resources. At this point, it's a bit premature, but we are in touch. Certainly, as I mentioned, UAE and Saudi Arabia are on that top of that list. Meena, you asked about the control room. Look, most of the calls, the contact is actually happening in Khartoum. However, there are people who are contacting here. So I wouldn't know the exact number, but at least 100 plus calls would have taken place in the less than 24 hours that this is, or a little more than 24 hours that this is operational. But I have to check the exact number. Many of them asking for their relatives, etc., where they are and what should they do. We are asking them if there's somebody who hasn't contacted our embassy, and let me reiterate that to people who may be watching this broadcast. If you are in Khartoum or you know of people in Sudan who have not yet reached out to the embassy, please do contact our control room or the numbers of the embassy so that you can be put on a list so that we know where you are and how we can render assistance to you. You had specific questions regarding from Srinjoy. You had asked about outside the Indian embassy. Look, the Indian embassy actually is located just opposite the airport, and that zone has seen a lot of fighting. There's been some shelling, etc. So I wouldn't be able to specifically comment on whether it has happened specifically outside the embassy, but yes, there are reports that in that zone where there are many embassies, there are attacks going on. There have been certainly gunfire and fights on the street. I don't understand what you said. There have been silence in terms of reports from Khartoum. We certainly are trying to be in contact. The focus currently is on contacting the stranded people and the affected people. And of course, today's briefing is part of sharing what we know and what our next steps are. I think, Siddhant, you had asked about ceasefire. Look, yes, of course, if the situation on the ground improves and there is a pause in the fighting or there's some formal ceasefire, we will certainly take advantage of that. Primarily to first, I think, to get people together in safer areas, provide food stuff, provide water, those kind of things. But for the moment, it is still a very tense situation where there is not been too much of a respite from the fighting, although the intensity has been going up and down from time to time. I'll come back to a follow-up on that. Pranay, आपका प्रश्न था कि अटैक हुआ था एम्बेसी पर. हाँ, तो अटैक हमारे एम्बेसी, देखिए एम्बेसी जिस जगह पे है, मैं कहता एयरपोर्ट के पास, उसमें काफ़ी वहाँ लोकल फाइटिंग चल रही है, तो उसमें हम कंफर्म नहीं कर सकते कि एम्बेसी में एग्जैक्टली कोई, अभी एम्बेसी में कोई है नहीं, पर हमारे जो दूतावास के लोग हैं बाकी जगह से ऑपरेट कर रहे हैं और वो लोग सबसे कांटेक्ट कर रहे हैं. तो एम्बेसी पर अटैक हुई या नहीं मुझे अभी नहीं मालूम, पर सिचुएशन जैसे इंप्रूव करेगा हमें पता चलेगा जब हम जा पाएंगे उस एरिया पे. पर एम्बेसी के सारे जो पर्सनल हैं वो काम कर रहे हैं इस पर. इवैक्यूएशन के प्लान्स उस डिपेंड करेंगे सिचुएशन ऑन द ग्राउंड पे. हम चाहेंगे कि वो सेफ रहें, हम आइडियली चाहेंगे कि ये फाइटिंग बंद हो जाए ताकि ऐसे ओकेशन होना ना आए कि हमें निकालना पड़े. पर अगर हमें निकालना पड़े इंडियंस को, तो उसके लिए हमारे पास हमेशा कंटिजेंसी प्लान्स रहते हैं और इस सिचुएशन में भी कुछ प्लान्स बन रहे हैं, हम रेडीनेस पे हैं. पर वो डिपेंड करेगा कि एयरपोर्ट कौन सा ऑपरेशनल है या रोड से कुछ कर सकें. ये अभी प्रीमेच्योर होगा कहना, डिपेंड वो सिक्योरिटी सिचुएशन पे डिपेंड करेगा. Akhilesh, you had asked about plans for sending officials on aircraft. Look, again, as I was mentioning to Pranay, that will all depend on the situation on the ground. I wanted to assure you that we are in readiness of taking multiple options. There are contingency plans. We are in close touch with our teams on the ground. But it all depends on how long there is a pause in the fighting or a ceasefire, where it is happening, what is available in terms of locations where we can safely take people away. I think that was related to Reza. You had asked a question regarding food and electricity, etc. Yes, there are issues of electricity. Parts of the city, we understand, have not had power for intermittently or for a few days. Food, I understand there is food, but look, street movement is difficult and shops aren't open, so that makes it much more difficult. We are trying to counsel, our embassy is trying to counsel groups or Indians how they can assist or they can find ways to get over this period. I won't be able to share with you specific details. That will depend on where exactly they are located and what are the local facilities available. I think you had another question largely on Khartoum, no? Or that I missed? No, yes, they're in different parts. Either they're hotels, some of them in housing. Remember, this happened very quickly, and I don't think people were able to find other options. But yes, we are in touch with them. Everybody is safe and sound. I wanted to emphasize that, look, our embassy has been really pushing in terms of trying to track down every Indian who's there, who's registered, trying to build a database of information, trying to counsel them, trying to tell them what should they do in terms of remaining safe. Our advice, let me reiterate again, is that at this point they need to be where they are and seek shelter where they are rather than trying to go somewhere else till the situation improves. And this is something, obviously, an evolving situation. We are monitoring it very closely, and we will certainly not only be in sharing with you, of course, the information, but on a more real-time sharing that with the people who are in touch with the embassy, what happens, developments there. Let's hope for the best, that the situation improves. And again, if any Indian national is not in touch with our embassy team and requires assistance, they're requested to contact our embassy or the control room in New Delhi. And hopefully our situation, we will see better situation in the next few days. But as of now, the situation remains tense. Is there anything related, any follow-up to the Sudan before? With the microphone, please.
So the clarification is regarding, I heard you said that EAM is in New York.
Yes.
To discuss the situation in Sudan. Is it regarding that?
Okay. What was the other question? Somebody else had a question? Yeah, Yashi? On Sudan, right? No, I'll come back to non-Sudan. You said something else other than Sudan. Sudan? Yeah. Reza, microphone. Neeraj, yours is also in Sudan? Yeah, sure.
Just a quick clarification, Reza from Hindustan Times. Did you say that the embassy is not? I mean, is closed right now, and
no, that
officials are.
I understand.
Yeah.
I will tell you. Okay. Same. No, maybe I should rephrase that. Look, it was a weekend on the Friday, I think, when the fighting started. So the embassy premises, nobody is living inside them. Obviously, the embassy is functioning. Embassy personnel are there. They're rendering all possible assistance that they can. But as we have told other people also, do not go physically to the embassy premises, which is in a very high, fighting zone, intense fighting near the airport. So please contact the embassy otherwise, and they will be guided on what needs to be done. The embassy itself is open and functioning and providing all assistance, but the embassy premises themselves are in a high intense zone where we think it is not safe right now. No, this embassy, no, people don't live there. This is not that kind of embassy complex. It's a building. People live in their own homes, and nobody is inside the embassy building or the chancery building right now, or generally. Your question was regarding EM. As you know, we announced that External Affairs Minister is on a visit to Latin America. En route, he has stopped in New York, and he will be meeting. He is holding discussions, and today he will be meeting the UN Secretary General. Thursday, New York time, and we'll let you know updates on what happens after that. Okay, next round of questions. Yeah, Yashi, you had asked. I'll come back to the other questions that you may have.
Shirley from the New Indian Express. There was a section of the media which said that, talked about charges that have been leveled against these 8 naval officers in Doha. And I'd like MEA's response. Also, when is the new...
On what will you like MEA's response?
On
the report?
On the report. And also, when is the new ambassador going to assume charge in Doha?
Okay. Yeah, I'll take a few questions. I'll come back to next.
कविता हूँ हरिभूमि न्यूज़पेपर से। सर मेरा सवाल ये है कि अभी जो गोवा में एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स मिनिस्टर्स का SCO जो मीट होने वाला है, उसमें पाकिस्तान के विदेश मंत्री भी भाग ले रहे हैं। तो उनकी तरफ से क्या कोई कंफर्मेशन MEA के पास आ गया है, ऑफिशियल कंफर्मेशन? और अगर मीटिंग में वो पार्टिसिपेट करते हैं पाकिस्तान के फॉरेन मिनिस्टर, तो उनकी हमारे विदेश मंत्री के साथ क्या कोई बायलैटरल मीटिंग भी साइडलाइन में हो सकती है?
Okay. Neeraj, your question is done. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
सर नीरज न्यूज़
अच्छा, you have a question.
क्या पाकिस्तान की तरफ से कोई रिक्वेस्ट आया है बायलैटरल मीटिंग के लिए? वहाँ के विदेश मंत्री आ रहे हैं गोवा के लिए, गोवा में SCO बैठक.
Yeah, go ahead. Microphone. Microphone's off.
From NDTV. Has there been any confirmation of the Chinese foreign minister attending the SCO foreign ministers meeting?
Okay. Let me come back to this. I have a few questions already now. Okay. Look, on the SCO foreign ministers meeting, let me start with that. As we've been saying, we have been inviting all SCO member states and some inviting countries, of course, for events under our presidency that is underway. Specifically for the SCO foreign ministers meeting that is scheduled to take place in Goa on May 4th and 5th, we had extended similar invitations to all SCO member states. and we look forward to a successful meeting. It would not be really appropriate to focus on participation by any one particular country, so I would leave it at that. आपने पूछा था हिंदी में, मैं आपको वही कहना चाहूँगा कि देखिए एससीओ प्रेसिडेंसी के तहत हमने सारे एससीओ मेंबर स्टेट्स को इनविटेशन दिया था, न्योता दिया था इसके आने के लिए, और गोवा में ये मीटिंग है, एससीओ फॉरेन मिनिस्टर्स मीटिंग 4 से 5 मई, और हम अपेक्षा करते हैं कि ये मीटिंग बहुत सक्सेसफुल रहेगी, पर किसी एक देश की भागीदारी पर ध्यान देना इतना उचित नहीं होगा. Regarding requests for bilateral meetings, look, I think it's premature. Let's see the full participation. Usually, External Affairs Minister does try to hold as many bilateral meetings as he can on the margins of such kind of multilateral meetings. You saw that on the occasion of the G20 Foreign Ministers meeting. But till such time as they are locked in, I don't think it would be correct for me to comment on that. Yashi, your question was regarding the detainees in Qatar. Look, on that one, as I have been mentioning, and we've been discussing this, the first hearing of the case was on 29th March. Next hearing is coming up on the May 3rd. As far as I'm aware, the charges have not been shared so far or conveyed so far. Our embassy has been facilitating regular visits of the family members. And of course, let me reiterate, we attach very high priority to the case, and we are working to ensure the release and repatriation of our nationals. I don't have any particular comment on speculative media reports. Maha, I think your question has got answered in that. Priya, your question was on the population. I wasn't really sure what you wanted me to comment on. Let me just say that this was the UN Population Fund report. We are aware of that report, which has recently come out. But if you're asking for specifically about the population count and other elements, I would have to refer you to the relevant agencies. To be honest, I didn't realize there's a competition or, on this issue, or there is any degree of competition in population between two countries. I can't comment in what context the Chinese spokesperson was asked this question. I haven't seen the question so far. I don't have really any specific comment on this UN Population Fund report. Sorry, next round of questions. Yeah. No, let me start with this. Siddhant.
We saw the meeting, the India Central Asia Chabhar meeting last week in Mumbai. We signed a pact with a UN body for transfer of wheat to Afghanistan. If you can give details as to when the wheat will be sent to Afghanistan, because the pact was announced in March, I believe. It's been almost 2 months. So, any details on that?
Okay. Siddhant. Sorry. Shashank.
So Shashank Mattu with the Mint. So following up from a question last week, the External Affairs Minister came back from Mozambique. My question was energy security part of that conversation? Very specifically...
You had a specific query last time, I remember.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Okay. Microphone.
सर शैलेंद्र वांगू नेटवर्क 18 से आपने सितंबर में बोला था कि अनमोल बिश्नोई को केन्या में डिटेन किया गया है, लेकिन एक ताज़ा वीडियो सामने आया है जहां
मैंने कहा था
जी आप दो कंट्रीज का था, अजरबैजान
बिल्कुल याद है मुझे।
अनमोल बिश्नोई केन्या में डिटेन किया गया था, आपने कहा था हम बातचीत कर रहे हैं उनके साथ में, लेकिन एक ताज़ा वीडियो जो सामने आया है वहाँ पर अनमोल बिश्नोई पंजाबी सिंगर के साथ कैलिफोर्निया में नजर आता है। तो ये कुछ जो सिद्धू मूसेवाला की फैमिली को ये बहुत हर्ट किया है इस बात को, ये पहुंचा कैसे? पहला सवाल ये। सर दूसरा ये जुड़ा हुआ सवाल है, अमृतपाल वाले केस में उनकी पत्नी को आज रोका गया लंदन जाने से, क्या उनके खिलाफ कोई एलओसी जारी किया गया है?
You had a question? Yeah, go ahead. Microphones are missing today.
Hi sir, Hiranjan from Bloomberg. Any update that you could give us on the meeting of the Deputy Prime Minister from Russia and the External Affairs Minister? Was an insurance arrangement discussed? Investments, protect each other's investment. There's some kind of a protocol being talked about. If you could give us any
protect.
Detail. Yeah, that's what we heard. If you could give us any more.
I will come back to it. Any other questions? I have already 4 or 5. I'll take one more. Yeah, Huma, go ahead. I'll come back to you. Kallol, sorry, I missed you, Kallol. I'll come back.
I'm Huma Siddiqui from the Financial Express.
Microphone.
Huma Siddiqui from the Financial Express. You said that you have already issued a press release on EM going to South America. and Central. So I just wanted to know, will the energy security be one of the major issues between when he goes to Colombia and to Guyana? Number one. Number two, there was a trade talks going on between India and SICA countries. If there is any update on that.
Okay. You had a question, Siddhant, again? Yeah.
Sir, Siddhant from CNN News 18. So my question is related to the fresh Henry Jackson report, which talks about the growing anti-Hindu sentiment in British schools. So is India going to take up this issue with Britain, and what is the official position of the government of India?
Okay. Kalol.
Kalol from the Hindu. My question is regarding the Indians held in Qatar. And reports today suggest that they have been accused of spying for Israel.
I just answered this question.
No, but I don't think that was raised. So I would like to know what's your response to the specific mention of Israel in this regard.
Okay. Let me try to answer this. I'll come back. Unless it's a related question. You have something else? I'll come back and I'll have a quick last round. Okay. Siddhant, on your question, where's Siddhant? Oh, you're sitting here today. I apologize. You tend to sit right. Siddhant, look, yes, as you all know, we have been trying, and we have been sending wheat to Afghanistan. I think we sent over 40,000 tons. This was a promise of another 10,000 tons of wheat there. I don't have a time frame yet in mind, in the sense that we always wanted to be sent at the earliest, but there are procedural issues, as you saw in the past when we sent 40,000 also. So as soon as I have an update in terms of when it could be sent, we'll share with you. For the moment, we are trying to work out the logistics of doing it, but it certainly is an indication of our interest in assisting humanitarian assistance to the people of Afghanistan. Shashank, you mentioned the question, energy security in particular, you had a project that was there. Look, the visit has taken place. We have put out what we are in a position to put out. I'm afraid I don't have anything further to share on that, but if I do, I will certainly come back to you. शैलेंद्र जी, आपका प्रश्न था अनमोल बिश्नोई का. हमने भी वो वीडियो देखा था, एक स्टोरी, आई डोंट नो वीडियो सच है या नहीं है. देखिए, मेरा जो स्टेटमेंट था उस समय का, वो उस समय का था, उस समय डिटेन किया गया था. उसके बाद एग्जैक्ट अपडेट उसके साथ क्या था, वो हिरासत में थे या नहीं थे, हम चेक करेंगे. हम इसमें पर मेरे पास अभी कोई अपडेट नहीं है उसके बारे में. बट सितंबर में वो डिटेन थे उस समय. उसके बाद क्या हुआ 6 महीने में, हम उसके बारे में चेक कर रहे हैं. अमृतपाल सिंह के वाइफ के बारे में कुछ LOC, बट ये फॉरेन पॉलिसी इशू नहीं है, वो हमारे मंत्रालय का नहीं है, मैं कुछ कह नहीं पाऊंगा इसमें. Sudhi, you had mentioned about the recent visit of the Deputy Prime Minister of. Look, I don't know what I can add to that. You would recall that during the visit, both ministers, that's External Affairs Minister and Deputy Prime Minister Manturov, addressed delegation of business leaders both countries. They also had talks, issues of market access, trade imbalance. The non-tariff barriers, logistics, payment mechanisms, etc. were discussed. I don't specifically recall whether insurance was covered or certainly protection or investments. Certainly promotion of investments and mechanisms is an element of that. EM had referred to all this, and he had a long statement that he delivered to the business community. We have made that public. To be honest, I don't have anything further to add to that specific query of yours. Huma, I'm hesitant to prejudge what EM will do, but yes, energy security is an important element, certainly in the context of Guyana, you heard, and perhaps even in Colombia. But whether it will be discussed and in what form it will be discussed, let's await the visit, let it get completed. Yes, similarly, there is, as we have mentioned in our press release, there is something about trade talks, or at least a conversation with SICA leadership there, and there is interest on both sides to deepen trade and investment ties with the region. EM, of course, is not the minister for trade negotiations, but yes, I think modalities of how we can bring our two countries together in terms of trade and investment would be on the agenda. But again, I would be very hesitant to prejudge the conversations. I think, Kalol, you asked about the same thing. As I said, I'm not going to comment on speculative media reports. I have put across our position very clearly on how we see the developments there and the legal process that is underway, and we are following it, and this is a priority for us, and we will continue to extend all assistance we can, both consular, legal, as well as with the families directly that we are in touch with. I think, Siddhant, your question was with a recent school report or something, right? I saw something on that. Yeah, sorry, I don't know. Let me say we have seen media reports. in this regard of a study conducted by a UK think tank. I'm not aware of any specific complaint by any Indian national to our High Commission. And let me reiterate and emphasize that India has always stood against discrimination in any form. So that's what I had to say on this. There are a few more questions. A couple of people had questions. Neeraj? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Sandeep, right at the back.
So this is a counselor's question. I'm Sandeep Dixit from the Tribune.
Thank you.
And this is a counselor question. A lot of Indians are facing visa delays, especially when traveling to Central and East European countries. So, as India's per capita income grows, more people want to go out, and this is becoming a big problem. So, would you be taking some reciprocal measures?
No, what was the question? I didn't understand.
That people are facing inordinate delays in getting visas, especially to Central and East European countries.
Okay.
So now, as per capita income rises, more people are traveling out. So the static amount of the strength they have, this is in the embassies, this is giving rise to more delays. So would you be in some kind of a dialogue with them to ease this visa problem, which is becoming very endemic? And second, people are also talking about VFS, which has monopoly powers and is in fact, people say that it's a foreign company now. So is a monopoly of VFS acceptable?
Sorry, the last part completely. Monopoly vis-a-vis what?
VFS.
No, foreign company. I didn't understand your second question at all. Could you repeat that part?
Yeah. There's this company called VFS.
Yes, I'm aware.
Which collects all the visa applications on behalf of the countries.
Foreign countries, right?
Yes.
We didn't hire them. Okay, I'll try to answer. I get your question. Okay, sorry, I get your question now. Okay, any other last question? Quickly, yeah, please. No, behind you. Yeah. I'm really running out of time today.
Thank you. Rajesh Mishra from Kantipur Media, Nepal. Sir, when is the Prime Minister of Nepal visiting India? Is there any expected date under discussion? And the second
one question usually. Today we are quickly, sir.
Sir, when is the Prime Minister of Nepal visiting India? Is there any expected date under discussion?
Perfect.
And the second, President of Nepal is admitted in AIMS hospital. Please share if you have any update about that.
Fair enough. Any other questions? Neeraj, microphone.
सर, नीरज न्यूज़ 18 इंडिया से पाकिस्तान में एक अल्पसंख्यक समुदाय के पत्रकार, हिंदू समुदाय के पत्रकार को अगवा हुए 10 दिन से अधिक का वक्त बीत चुका है। कोई कंसर्न भारत ने जाहिर किया है पाकिस्तान के सामने?
अच्छा, how do you have the same question? Okay, right. Thank you. Look, Sandeep, I'm not sure in what way we can respond to this. Let me first and foremost emphasize that visa issuance is the discretion of that government, and it's a sovereign decision. So process of visa and the visa issuance is their decision, to be very, very honest. The same way as issuance of Indian visas is our prerogative. Nevertheless, I think there is understanding that for better relations and smoother movement of people that benefits both sides, easier visa regimes helps both countries. And it is in this context that we have been taking up from time to time with various countries or groups of countries the need for easier visa regime or a smoother visa regime, a predictable visa regime, particularly for students and others. I'm not particularly aware of the delays in whether Central or East Europe in particular, so I'm not going to comment on that. But yes, we would hope that Indian citizens who apply for this find a easy and smooth mechanism to apply and a predictable time frame. I wouldn't want to know what is endemic or not. I know some countries have told us that they had difficulties due to COVID and backlog and other shortages, but I think they have also publicly said that they are taking steps to improve the situation and make visa issuance period or visa waiting period less, and in some cases we have actually seen changes over the last few months. As regards your query on VFS, look, foreign countries do, or foreign embassies do employ outsourcing agencies, and I think VFS is one of them, to handle their visa issues. If you have any complaint with that, then you'd have to take it up with that concerned embassy or the country. This is not something that Government of India is involved in, unless there is something that specifically you want me to comment. Rajesh, you had asked about two specific issues regarding Nepal. Let me take the first one, the second one first. His Excellency Mr. Ramchandra Paudel, the President of Nepal, is currently receiving medical care in a hospital in New Delhi. We wish him speedy recovery. Due to reasons of privacy, I would not be able to share any further information on this. I would request you to contact perhaps the Nepalese authorities or the family members. As regards the visit of Prime Minister of Nepal, of course, we would welcome such a visit. But as you know, we would announce such visit as and when we are ready to do so, and we have a specific date to share with you. Please bear with us. As I've always been saying, we'll do it at the appropriate time. I don't have a crystal ball. नीरज, आपका प्रश्न, नीरज क्या था ना, आपका प्रश्न था, अब आई थिंक एक केस था जिसमें पाकिस्तान में एक जर्नलिस्ट मिसिंग है कुछ दिनों से, वही वाले केस की पूछ रहे हैं. देखिए, इसके बारे में हमने पहले भी कुछ कहा था कि जिस तरह से अल्पसंख्यकों को ट्रीट किया जाता है पाकिस्तान में, ये सबको मालूम है, वेल डॉक्यूमेंटेड है. और पत्रकार और सिविल सोसाइटी एक्टिविस्ट की एनफोर्स डिसअपियरेंस की समस्या भी वहाँ वेल नोन है. मैं ये कहना चाहूँगा कि पाकिस्तान के अल्पसंख्यक समुदाय के लगातार निशाना बनाए जाने से हम पाकिस्तानी सरकार के साथ अपनी गंभीर चिंता दर्ज करना जारी रखेंगे. हम कंसर्न अथॉरिटीज़, पाकिस्तान के कंसर्न अथॉरिटीज़ से मामले की गंभीरता से जांच करने और जिम्मेदार लोगों के खिलाफ कड़ी कार्रवाई करने की मांग करते रहते हैं. I think I will stop that. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.